Hey, it's Karnak, and today we're going to look at the support team upgrade card, fighter coordination team. How do you know this card fits into the support team slot? You look at the bottom left hand corner of the card, you will see the support team icon. This card costs 3 points, and this is my second video of this. The first video I uploaded, I accidentally mixed up some notes, misinterpreted some things, so I'm doing a correction video. Deleting the old video, doing a new video. So apologies about that. Again, I always try to make sure I'm presenting the most up-to-date, correct information. But hey, even sometimes I get things wrong. So if you do find something, as I always mention, make sure to point it out. Make sure it's I've got everything correct. But anyway, back to the card. It reads, Fighter Coordination Team. After you execute a maneuver, you may select a number of unengaged friendly squadrons up to your squadron value. At close medium range, these squadrons may move up to distance 1. So how does this card work? So it's after your ship that it's on executes a maneuver, and now this could be you can either activate your squadrons beforehand, or if you have flight commander as an officer, maybe you can activate your squadrons afterwards. But in terms of fighter coordination team, how do you measure distance? Well, remember, you measure. Oops, that's the wrong range, Ben. You measure from close to medium range. So black range is close. The blue band is medium range. So we're going to say that this ship is it's going speed 2. So we'll say it's doing a speed 2 maneuver. It's choosing, you don't have to have a squadron commander or anything to utilize this card. It's just essentially anytime your ship finishes a movement, that's when you can trigger this card's effect. So we're going to say this frigate is moving at speed 2. And he's going to do maneuver something like that. So he does 1, does 2, boom. He's finished his maneuver. Now you say, hey, I'm using fighter coordination team. I check range. Okay, these guys are definitely within range. And remember, when you're checking range for card effects, you're measuring from the plastic base of your ship to the closest point of a squadron, because it's not an attack. An attack, you need to range from the black cardboard to the closest point of what you're reaching, either for a squadron or if it's a ship, again, you're measuring from cardboard to cardboard. Okay, this is not an attack. You measure from the plastic base, which is a little bit bigger than the cardboard, to the closest point of your squadron. Again, do not include shield dials. Shield dials are not part of the plastic base. So we've done the maneuver. We're saying, okay, this is the escort variant, which can do 2 squadrons. So we're going to activate 2 squadrons. Now with this card, as long as these squadrons are not engaged initially, they can move within distance 1. They can end their movement within engagement. Okay? So as long as, if he was already like this, you wouldn't be able to move this guy, because distance 1 is the circle here. He's already engaged with that interceptor. But if he's outside that circle, he can move into engagement just fine. So that works great for your squadrons. Maybe you're just trying to nudge them in to hold some other squadrons down. It works great for a squadron like Maul or Mythal, because his trigger is based on movement. So if he ends a movement, within 1 of anything, he'll be able to peg some squadrons that way. So in this situation, we're going to say we're going to do both of these guys. We move them distance 1, move them distance 1, and that's the card effect. That's it. This also works, for example, say you have an obstacle, and maybe he's within distance 1 of this TIE interceptor. He's on the obstacle, though, meaning that he is not engaged. Okay, because remember, engagement is based on not being obstructed from distance 1 of whatever it is that you are within distance 1 of. So in this situation, with that A-wing being completely obstructed by the station, that TIE interceptor is technically not engaged with them. Are they in distance 1? Yes. If they wanted to shoot each other, they absolutely could, but they're technically not engaged. So you could trigger fighter coordination teams to then move him, distance 1. Want to make sure I was pointing that out. A lot of people think that engagement is, if they're already engaged within distance 1, that's not engagement. That's technically it's not, as stated in the rules reference. Another neat interaction, too, with fighter coordination team is ships like VCXs or Lambda-class shuttles, where they have the strategic capability. So, like, say if there's a token way out over there, you can use fighter coordination team. You can bump that guy. Well, the token's a little too far, but you can bump him, and as long as he ends his movement at distance 1, of the token, you can trigger strategic. Because strategic is it's when you do any movement with a VCX is when you can use it. So something like overlapping, that's not a movement, okay? So that wouldn't count. But in this situation, you could use a VCX or the fighter coordination teams to bump that VCX up. You could grab that token, for example, and then like if you had like flight controllers, or excuse me, flight commander, which allows you to activate squadrons after a movement, then you could do another thing if you've got intel. You can move that token around. A lot of players will use that to help really move those objective tokens around. Now, I did want to go over one specific thing regarding that card and Yavaris. Let me open up the fact real quick. Should have had that open already. No big deal. So it says this upgrade card's effect should read Squadron Command. Each squadron you activate can attack twice if it does not move during your activation. And when it says your activation, it is specifically meaning your ship's activation, not a squadron activation. Some players, and part of my misinterpretation was that you could use fighter coordination teams to move them after they've already done their double attack, but that's not the case. You cannot move. So Yavaris' title is that you can attack twice of a squadron if they don't move. So, for example, if these guys were already in range, this A-wing would be able to attack twice, either twice at the same target or if you wanted to shoot it at each different one. But you can't move them and then attack to get it, and you can't use fighter coordination team to bump them up to get that ability. So that's just something I want to make sure I was pointing out, that fighter coordination team, when we're conjunction with Yavaris, essentially the squadrons you choose to activate cannot have moved at all if you want them to be able to have that double attack. Obviously, you can still activate them like normal, you just forego Yavaris' effect. So that's fighter coordination team. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure that if I have anything wrong or an error that you're pointing out, let me know about it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in my future videos.